He's a little rough. All right, check this pile of junk out. This is a, I don't know the year, I think it's like a 2001 Arctic Cat 300 4x4. You can see it's incredibly rough. This thing was sitting outside probably for a couple of years. A subscriber hit me up and he said he had a pair of these sitting outside that had wiring issues, and he said come pick them up for $1,000. I got there, they were in super rough condition, so I offered $800 and then he countered to $850. So I got the pair for $850. One's 4x4, one's 2x4. The other one we'll do in a different video, but we'll focus on this one for today since it's the 4x4 and it looks like it might be in better condition. So you can see the back plastics are completely off of it. Back rack, seat comes off. The seat's probably the best part of the machine. There are no rips in the seat or anything. Like so. The plastics aren't really that bad. There's one crack right there. But otherwise plastics aren't that bad. This is where it gets pretty weird. So look at the wiring. It's all chewed up, all frayed. I mean, I don't know what's going on here. Looks like somebody like just came in and ate the whole wiring harness. So all the wiring is just horrible on this thing, and it's missing the coil. So that's super exciting. It does have a winch on it on the front. I don't know if that works because we can't hook up a battery until we figure out the wiring. This thing is on-demand 4-wheel drive, so right here it says 2-wheel drive, pull out. So you pull this lever out for 2-wheel drive, like that, and then push it in for 4-wheel drive. I'm not really sure what this thing is right here. I'm guessing it's reverse maybe. It's supposed to have a handle. We are missing the little piece of plastic that goes right here as well. Here is the gauge for it up here. We've got the gear selection right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so there's 5 gears. So we've got oil temp, neutral, reverse, and oil. And then on the gauge, we've got 1,479 miles, which is really, really low, which that kind of gives me hope, but I don't know if the gauge is working or not. The front brake is stuck. Won't pull in. The rear brake actually does work. And it gets stuck though. So rear brake is getting stuck. Just needs to be lubed up. The wiring up front looks like it's fine. So all the wires up front look like they're okay. So really it's just the harness back here that has problems. It does have the CDI, however, all the wires are pulled out of it. So the guy ended up giving me this. There's a spark plug for it. And then there is a new CDI, I think it's just a Chinese one. And then there's a new coil and a new spark plug. So we do have a chance to get this thing running today. And then here is a new wiring harness, so we can kind of go off of this one and see what plugs into what, which is kind of nice. So yeah, and then this plastic's for the other one, and then there's a battery for it too. So I already charged up this battery. Seems to be holding charge. So we'll test that out if we can get this wiring all hooked up. Before we go on to the wiring, I just kind of want to pull this thing over and see if it has compression before we put all this work into it, and it doesn't even have compression. So when I got there, it did pull over just fine. So pulling it over, pulls over fine. And it looks like there is a spark plug in this one, so we will see what kind of compression this thing has. It should be interesting. But yeah, this was sitting outside without a spark plug in it. But we found a spark plug and put it in when we were there, just to see what the compression was like. But yeah, everything else on the machine is pretty tight. Wheels seem good. CV axles are fine. It's a little wobbly in there. I think both of them are like that, yeah. So we'll see. The wheels are fine, wheel bearings are fine. CV axles in the back are good. Not wobbly or anything. It does have a hitch on it as well. And everything else is pretty much complete. So really, it's just missing the one piece of plastic like this. Let's start tackling this thing, and we'll see if we can get this thing to run. Alright, you can see the spark plug right there. Let's get that out. So yeah, it concerned me a little bit that these were sitting outside what looked like for years without a plug in them. So hopefully the bottom end's fine. Hopefully it can crank over just fine. Let's put some lube down there. Make sure everything's lubed up. A little bit of oil. Then we'll turn it over a couple times. It does have a pulse start and electric start on this one. So that's kind of nice. Pulls over just fine. Alright, now we're going to get the compression tester hooked up and we'll see what kind of compression this thing has. Hopefully it's above 100. Alright, let's get this in there. Alright, here we go. We're going to pull this thing over with throttle open. You guys kind of know the drill by now. See what we get. We're hoping for over 100. 150 or so would be good. Looks like the slide is sticky on the carb. Oh boy, this one's going to be hard to pull. Alright, so compression's not that high. It's like 130. Should run though. Those rings are probably stuck a little bit in there. But we've got somewhat decent compression. 100 PSI, you know, it should run with that. So, without further ado, let's try tackling this mess. So we've got the other wiring harness here. Let's just kind of map this thing out and see what's going on. So it looks like this one goes to the CDI. This goes up here. So we might be able to just, let's see, are they all the same wires? Green and black. That goes to there. Looks like pretty much all the same wires here. Oh boy, this looks like a lot of fun. Same ground. Let's see, look for that switch right up there. Here's red. Going to somewhere. That's that one. It's all pretty much the same. It's a little different. Yeah, it's a little bit different. I don't know if we can use this one or not. I don't see a switch for that. Yellow, looking for yellow. Yeah, I'm not seeing a switch for that. Huh. So we'll have to kind of check this over and see if we can use this wiring harness. If not, we'll have to splice into the old one and just create our own from it. So that's going to be exciting. Right, about an hour later, I replaced, you can see all the white wires are what I replaced. And hopefully we have it set up all correctly, but you can see all the corroded and junky wires are gone and replaced with this fresh wire. I had to kind of guess on some of it because the wiring harness right here doesn't match up correctly with this one. Must be for the 2x4 version outside. So I kind of had to guess. Got the CDI all together. I'm not sure if these wires are in there correctly, but we will see, I guess, when we hook up a battery. I think we've got everything here hooked up correctly. This one goes to ground to the coil. I had to guess on that one as well because there's a green wire coming from the thing right here. I don't know what switch that is to down here, so I'm guessing that's a ground. But let's hook up the coil next. We've got a brand new coil. I'm not sure why the coil was off of it in the first place, but this thing just mounts right to here. So we can mount that right up to here. And I'm guessing that just goes in here like that. And I'm not sure if the CDI is still good. It might be, I have no idea. We'll get that hooked up in here. We'll get the ground going to that right there. And then we've got this thing going to it right here. So we'll get that all hooked up and then we'll hook up a battery. We'll probably fry the whole system again. All right, here we go. We're gonna hook up a battery to it. This is gonna be scary. One to negative there, and then one to positive right here. See what happens here. Turn this on. Hopefully we don't blow it up here. Nothing's hot yet. Let's see what happens. Oh, something happened. Huh. Maybe take that off. Nothing's being lit up here. Is there a fuse going to here? Oh, we might need that red wire hooked up as well. Oh, that's a black one. Huh. I don't know. Let's see if we've got power going to the solenoid. Red, black. That's all we should need. The lights are working. Oh, there we go. Got lights. Ho ho ho. Something's working. Got lights. We don't have any power on the starter, but let's see if we've got spark down here. We can turn it over. See if we have some spark. like we've got any spark. No spark. Huh. Doesn't look like the starter's working at all. Alright, so here's where we're at. We've got everything hooked up. We've got 12 volts going to the starter. I'm crossing the solenoid, and it does spin over when you cross the solenoid. The only problem is when you hit the button up here, it does not start. So I'm thinking it's not in neutral. And when I go to shift it, it's really hard to shift. So I'm wondering if it had a shifting problem. But none of the lights are turning on in neutral. That one's working, so I'm assuming the other ones work. Let's just see what this thing does. I don't know what this doesn't do anything. Yeah, no lights are coming on. Just the two in the front there. We'll see if we can get this thing into neutral and see if we get some spark. Alright, we got this thing in neutral. Still no neutral light coming on. Let's open up the switch right here and see if the on-off switch is working and that start button. WD-40 that whole thing. Everything's tight on it. Alright. Okay, open up that light right here. Alright, you can see that switch is operated by that. Spray a little WD-40 in there. Work it around. Push button. Alright, so I think the switch is fine. I think we gotta go to the stator, maybe the stator area. There's something wrong with it. Let's try to figure out where that neutral switch leads to. Alright, looking right down here, you can see there's like a switch right here. I think that's for the neutral switch and gear selection. So let's try to get that guy out of there. If you guys can kind of see that in there. A little blurry. It's the best angle I can get. Let's see what's going on in there. Well, one good thing, the screws came out fairly easily. So we have hope here. These connections could just be really bad. I'm not really sure. That thing pops right out of there like that. Not really 100% sure. That's what that looks like in there. That looks pretty clean. I don't know. That seems pretty good to me. Okay guys, this is incredible. So I was looking at this manual online and I just stumbled across this. I said, oh, the fuse box is in the front under this panel right here. So it's like, oh man, I missed the whole fuse box. And I was looking at the fuses and you can see right here, says ignition right there. So I took that one out, and sure enough, look at this. That fuse is busted. See that? So I replaced it with another 10 amp fuse in there, and look at this. Oh, and I didn't have the solenoid hooked up correctly. So the solenoid has 2 wires right here coming to it. Those were non-existent, so I had to look at the wiring diagram. There's one green wire that goes all the way down to this little box over here, and there's another black wire that's grounding out right there. So we needed both of those wires, and check this out. So it's turning over, no problems there. Now, moment of truth, do we have spark? Here we go. Will we have spark? Please, please God, let us have spark on this thing. I've been chasing this thing for so long. Come on, baby, come on. Let's see, is that we zoomed in enough? All right, here we go. Oh yeah. Oh, we've got good spark. Yes. Oh man, this thing might actually start up now. Huh. Okay, that was a lot of diagnostics work. Holy cow. Oh man, that is awesome. So we wired the CDI right, hopefully. We've got spark, that coil's working. Somehow this might actually run. So let's get this all tidied up here, and we'll move on to the carburetor, I guess. I didn't think we were gonna get this far after we had no spark there for a little bit. Alright, we got the spark plug in, that's all good to go. All the wires are pretty much where they're gonna be. We just have to wrap everything with tape, and then we've got the battery hooked up, and everything is good to go. Let's try turning it on. Neutral light still doesn't work. I think these bulbs are burnt out, but turns right over, no issues there. So on to the next step, which is going to be the carburetor. Right now everything's locked up on it. See, the cable's just loose, so we're going to take the filter off, get the air filter off. There's probably a nest in there, and then we'll see what that carburetor looks like, and then we'll attempt to start this thing. Lots of nuts coming out of there. Well, at least nothing was in the carb. That's good. Get the vacuum all it out. Alright, I got this screw off of here. It's on there pretty good. Let's see what's in the air box. Oh my god. That is insane. That is just insane. What the heck? This was like the secret stash. Holy cow. Wow, that's a lot of nuts. We've got like a gas water mixture draining out of the tank. So it looks like, yeah, the gas cap had a hole in it. You can see, so water just accumulated. in the gas tank. So we'll drain that out. But yeah, that's a nice mix of water and gas. You can smell the gas, but it's mostly water. Then we got the carburetor off. Let's take a look in there. And it is free now, so slide goes up and down. Everything seems pretty good so far. Alright, we'll try to open this thing up, see how bad it is. Oh, man. Those are rusty on there. Doesn't look like it's ever been taken apart before. Bolts are not stripped out at all. Oh man. Oh man. Whew. One more. There we go. Ooh, she's a little crusty. A little rust in there. A little debris. Doesn't look too good. This part doesn't look horrible. All the jets are clogged, but definitely seen worse than this. Got the main jet here. Main jet is clogged. Let's see, completely clogged. Get the pilot jet out of here. Yeah, pilot's really clogged up. And the fuel screw, we'll get this out of here. There's a little spring in there too. There we go. Then we'll look at the diaphragm up here. Check out what the diaphragm looks like. Luckily these screws came off too. Ooh, she's pretty crusty. She's a little crusty. Doesn't look like any rips though. Huh, that's still fine. Cool. Diaphragm looks good. Crusty that is in there. Alright, we're going to clean this up with some carburetor cleaner and then blow it out with the air compressor. Alright, we got the gas tank cleaned out. We've got a nice filter on there, filtering out all the rust for us. We've got the carburetor cleaned. Let's see if she fires up here. Hopefully she does. Should. Let's see what happens. Nada, I'm gonna get the choke working. Alright, we got the choke working, let's try again. she's running. That is awesome. Look at that thing go. Wow. That's pretty sweet. Cannot believe it's running. Sounds really good too. Wow. That is insane. Alright, looking at the oil window, doesn't look like there's much oil in there. So we're going to add some to the cap right here and then drain the remaining oil. There's a bolt underneath here, right where that hole is. And there's another one underneath the engine. Where is it? Right here. So we'll drain those and then we'll see what that oil looks like in there and then we'll fill it back up. Alright, that oil is really, really black. There's not much in there. We'll see if there's any metal chunks, but there's not much in there at all. Alright, here's the oil. Let's see how bad it is. No chunks in it. So it's pretty dark, but no chunks. Let's add a little bit to it. Make sure we're adding the right amount. One quart in, 2 more to go. Alright, oil change is done. Check out the level. Right between the 2 lines. We are perfect there. Let's see if she fires right up. Turn it on. Sounds really good, no smoking. Let's get the rest of the machine back together. We gotta get the plastics on, and then we gotta see if this thing moves. Alright, we got it all back together here. We got the winch working too. So this side looks really good. Looks really nice. We're just missing the plastic piece right there. Otherwise this thing would be complete. Looking pretty sharp. The winch works by turning the lights all the way on, or the machine all the way on, and then it goes back in. So the winch does work. And this thing starts up instantly. So now, I just have to fix the brake right here. Alright, so I just took off the lid and there's no fluid in there. So hopefully that was the problem. We will see. Alright, so I got the lever off of here. You can see the little piston in there is just all the way in, so it's stuck. I tried pounding on it and it won't come free. So it looks like we probably need a new master cylinder. This one's pretty toast. Alright, I cannot get that brake to work. So we're gonna have to order up a new master cylinder or just leave it. At least we've got the back brake working. So. Alright, and then we've got to order up a side piece. Because once we get that, it'll look really, really nice. But anyway, let's see if it moves here. gear number 1 shows up on here when you're riding it. But gear number 2 does not. For reverse, you just click it down neutral, pull this lever right here, got reverse. And to get out of it, push the lever up, click it down first, away we go. And the speedo is working. Awesome. That means that's the original mileage on there. And I can kind of tell. It's so smooth. And it's running perfectly. I wish we had this other plastic piece for it. But yeah, not a bad machine. Alright, this thing is pretty much done except for the side panel right there and the front brake. Otherwise everything else works, and 4x4 works. Just tested that out. You push that in for the 4x4 and then pull out for the 2x4. So that worked. I tested that. Reverse works, all the gears work, everything works really nicely. Tires are pretty decent on it. Headlights work. Tail light I have to get hooked up as well. And then speedo does work, and the original miles, and those are really low original miles. But yeah, I'm really happy we got this thing running. I did not think we were going to, because the wiring was such a mess on this thing. But after spending, I think I spent 8 hours on this thing. Let me check my phone. From like 9 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock at night. So about 8 hours. But we've got a running machine, and we saved another one. Anyway guys, this one is pretty much done. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Stay tuned for the next one. Until next time, we are